Hello everyone, and welcome back to Guasto, your friendly alien telling you from family to relationship stories. If you like what you hear, consider subscribing. Have a good listening. Today's story is a bit long plus an update, so buckle up. Entitled Brother-in-Law Pushes My Daughter Off a Chair. Hello, this is a throwaway account, so English isn't my native language, so please excuse any spelling errors you may find. So, for a little backstory. I, 25 female, am married to my husband, 25 male. We have been together for about 10 years now. I accidentally got pregnant around 4 to 5 years ago and we decided to keep it. We had our baby girl 4 years ago and ever since then we have been doing great surprisingly. My dear husband graduated university and we both found great jobs. We bought a good house. We have both our parents' support. Honestly, I couldn't ask for anything more. I have my beautiful family, and we are extremely happy. Well, there's only one thing in my husband's family that I particularly don't like. My brother-in-law, 30 male, has always been rude, insulting, and mean ever since my husband and I started dating. From the start of our relationship, every time something went missing in his house, I was the thief who stole it from him. It didn't matter what it was. This includes anime dolls, 350 euros, books, food, etc. He also talked horribly about me, told my husband from the start of the relationship that he should dump me because I wasn't a good person. I honestly had no idea why he treated me like this. I tried so hard to get along with him because he was my brother-in-law. I've always paid for his drinks and food whenever we went out to eat because he had no job. It was honestly so unfair that he went out of his way to say that I was annoying and a brat because I always tried my hardest to be a good person. I honestly really had enough of him and made sure not to get myself involved with him. He also refused to let me go inside his, that is his parents' house, to visit my husband when we were 17 years old and he was 22. He's what you call an otaku. I'm not sure if that's a word, but basically he dedicates his whole life to anime. He didn't finish his high school, he dropped out when he was 18 and was in his sophomore year. And since then he hasn't studied or even had a job. He lived off his parents for about 12 years without doing a single thing, not even housework. All he has done since I met him is watch anime, talk about anime, play the anime game card, make JoJo references and draw. When I first met him, I gave him my advice and told him that he should study something related to art. It was clearly something he was extremely passionate about, but he said he didn't want to study that because it would take away his unique style. Fast forward 3 months ago. His parents had enough of him not working and sitting around watching anime while his parents worked their asses off to support him. He is 30, has no studies, and has never had a job before. They kicked him out of the house, told him that he had other family members who could help him. But he did not want to live with his aunt or grandmother. He decided that he was actually going to pay for his own apartment. He would crash at our place while he considered studying art like I had told him. I was hesitant at first. This man has always disliked me from the beginning for stupid reasons, and he has always accused me for stealing his things. I have never stolen a thing in my life. But dear husband ended up convincing me to give it a shot and see if he could work things out considering COVID-19 and all. I also thought that maybe he could have changed. Well, at first he was extremely nice to me, dear husband, and our daughter. He would help us wash the dishes, make the beds, make food. He's not the best cook, but it's the effort and thought that counts. I honestly thought that he had really changed and I was so happy for him. He still loved anime, of course, and sometimes we would all watch it together. But a few weeks later and things turned sour. He told us he was considering doing something related to art. Drawing comic books, I think, not really sure. He asked us if we were willing to give him his own studio so he could work. Dear husband and I didn't have a separate room, but we did have a big basement where dear husband plays his drums. The conversation went something like this. Brother-in-law says, "Is it possible to put a drawing studio around here?" Me, "Don't you have space in the guest bedroom?" Brother-in-law says, "Yeah, but I would really like to have my own studio here so I can work with my drawings." Dear husband, the basement is the only place where you could have a studio of some sorts. The only problem is my drum is down there too. Brother-in-law, fine. It's good enough, I guess. Could you guys buy me some books so that I can learn to draw better? We put a desk down there, all the utensils he needed to work on his drawings, and he begged us to buy him a book so he could learn to draw better. We spent a lot of money on him, I honestly hoping that he would get his dream job of being an artist, even if I had to pay 50 euros for a few books. The thing about brother-in-law is that he is very possessive of his things. I always respected his space and everything he has around, but he would get extremely pissed off if I had the nerve to touch his belongings, even if it were to clean his bedroom, or whatever. 2 months went by. I didn't actually see brother-in-law to be too interested in actually working or studying, like we initially agreed he'd do. He's always drawing small anime girls, big girls with big tits, and from time to time he'd make a drawing of himself as an anime boy. I asked him if he was earning money from this. We're okay financially, but we were a family of 3 adults and some extra income could help us. And all he said was, "Not really, no." I was a bit annoyed, I won't lie. He was acting like if we were his parents, asking us for money to buy a new anime doll or money to make a new cosplay. We didn't mind helping him financially, but he was avoiding getting an actual job and was relying on us for everything, and it wasn't really important necessities. Yesterday, I was officially done. Dear husband, brother-in-law, my daughter and I were downstairs talking about something while dear husband was doing stuff with his drums. My daughter saw that in his studio when he opened one of the books of a page where there was a drawing of a girl. He ran over to his studio and sat in his chair. I noticed the look brother-in-law gave her, but I didn't think it was an angry look or anything. Then my daughter flipped one of the pages. Gently, she did not rip a page or anything. And? Daughter, "Mommy, look." Brother-in-law completely lost it. He got up, grabbed my daughter's arm and yanked her out of the seat. From what I saw, it looked like he had pushed her off. Thank God the chair was not high up and that my daughter wasn't actually hurt. She did not cry, but the fact that he had the audacity to do that made my blood boil. Brother-in-law says, "How many times did I tell you to not touch my stuff?" Me, "What the actual crap is wrong with you?" Brother-in-law, "She's being an entitled rat. I already told you guys not to touch my things." Me, "You mean the things we paid for? She's 4 years old, idiot." Daughter is shocked. Me, "She was just looking at the book that dear husband and I bought you." Brother-in-law, "Shut up. You know how much I hated when you guys touch my work." I was absolutely losing it. And I said, "Your work? Your work? You don't work. You sit around and paint naked anime girls all day. You eat our food. You don't pay rent. You're not even interested in actually moving your pathetic ass at all. You're 30 years old, for God's sake." My husband says, "Dude, she's absolutely right. Don't touch my daughter like that." Brother-in-law says, "To dear husband, you spineless man. Stand up to her for once." Me, "Get out of my house right now." Brother-in-law says, "No, I'm not leaving." Me, "You think you can stay here? Attack and yell at my daughter for touching a book we paid for because you don't want to get a real job? Ask us for money for your stupid conventions and cosplays? You're an embarrassment to your parents." I know it's not cool to insult someone like that, but if you touch my daughter and call me names, I will crush you. Eventually, he did leave. I packed his bags for him. I did not pack the books and dolls that we paid for. Dear husband and I thought we could give it to some charity. And he left to live with his 60-year-old aunt who is much more stern and tough than I am. Right now, I don't know how to feel. I feel like such a piece of shit for saying all of that to him. We spent so much money on him. We did everything we could to help him. And I feel like we could have actually done more. Edit. Thank you all for your replies. I'd like to answer some questions I got from people who are saying this is fake just because I don't know what that anime about the card game was. I've seen this man play so many card games based off anime that I honestly cannot keep track of what game he plays. I've always heard about this anime card game, but wasn't sure because I barely listened to him when he talked about it. He also made his own games as well, but I personally think I'm way too old to play them because I have to attend to my daughter and my job. From what I heard from my in-laws, his aunt is not tolerating him at all, and he's only been there for a few weeks. I'm pretty sure that if he keeps this up, he'll eventually be homeless, or maybe living on the other side of the country with his grandmother who smothered him since birth. It honestly doesn't make much sense to me. His parents gave him so many opportunities. They even offered to pay him 1,500 euros for him to get his driver's license. He said he was waiting for dear husband to get free rides everywhere. I think about being his age, and I just can't imagine myself living off my family like that. Too long didn't read. Brother-in-law is 30, has no job, no studies. We try and help his artistic career. Comes to live with my family. Pushes my daughter off a chair because she touched a drawing book we bought for him. Original poster posted an update after this, stating the following. I'd like to clarify that I understand that not all anime lovers are like this. Dear husband actually watches anime from time to time. I don't have a problem with people who enjoy it. My problem is my brother-in-law's obsession with it and how he used me for his own gain. Yesterday I made a post talking about my brother-in-law, 30 male, the most entitled piece of crap I've ever come across. I don't understand how he's related to my husband, since my husband is the most kind and loving person I know who would never hurt a fly. He literally does not kill flies. Today I had breakfast with a few friends, with masks and social distancing, and vented to them about what happened with brother-in-law. Let me just say, they told me so many things I left shaking in anger and feeling foolish for ever believing that brother-in-law could ever change. I feel like a bad mother for ever letting him near my child in the first place. Basically, what happened was that my friends told me that brother-in-law has physically and mentally overwhelmed some of my friends and acquaintances for disagreeing with him. This includes grabbing dear husband's friend by the neck when she was 17, kicking a guy in the head when he was asleep because he was dating someone brother-in-law liked, but brother-in-law never said anything to him. He threatened my best friend years ago because she started dating brother-in-law's friend and stole him from him. He also told a girl in his town that he was a sex addict or something like that. He hasn't had a girlfriend in 9 years, and his last boyfriend was 7 years ago. I'm sure that there are many other events that happened we don't know about. I don't know why my friends never told me this before. I'm shaking in anger, not at my friends. Dear husband didn't know most of these stories either. This is all so new to us. My husband thought he was only overwhelming physically by brother-in-law when they were younger. I'm honestly so angry my friends didn't warn me about what he had done to them. They told us they wanted to leave that in the past. They only told me because they agreed with me that brother-in-law is entitled. But honestly, I can't shake these thoughts away. I knew brother-in-law is problematic, especially with me, but I didn't think that he actually physically hurt people for disagreeing with him. Now, it doesn't even surprise me that he pushed my daughter off the chair. He is absolutely bonkers. I wonder what the hell he would have done to me if we were alone in the same room. Dear husband is upset that his friend never told him what his brother-in-law had done to her. I don't blame him. I'm also mad at my friends for not telling me about my brother-in-law's actions in the past. I've seen so many people ask me questions, and I like to answer them before giving an update about my brother-in-law's current life. Is he an incel? To be honest, I'm not sure. From what I've seen these past years, he doesn't exactly hate women per se. But a lot of boys and girls have rejected him, and all his girlfriends and boyfriends eventually dumped him. He also says his mother, such a sweet woman, has hurt him so much that he doesn't consider her to be his mother. I don't know what to answer. I think he just hates people who think he needs to grow up. Do you know why he hates you? In his words, I stole dear husband from him and changed him. I'm also a manipulator. I'm dear husband's first and only girlfriend/wife. Dear husband told me he never really liked his brother because he always humiliated him in front of others, hurt him physically when he was younger. This includes breaking his nose when he was 5 and being punched by brother-in-law when dear husband was 18, and made him play countless hours of anime card games. When I came into dear husband's life when we were 16 years old, dear husband spent much more time with me instead of him. And this made him furious. It's not my fault that his 16-year-old brother preferred having sex and staying over with his girlfriend rather than playing card games. I tried to be friendly with brother-in-law from the start, but he never wanted me around, and he tried multiple times to convince dear husband to leave me for someone else who enjoys anime. Dear husband and I were in love. We still are. Obviously, dear husband has never listened to him. Was there any lewd content in the books? I did have a look at what were in the books when people pointed out the possibility of there being lewd content. The book my daughter touched was a book about how to draw male and female bodies and proportions like torso, hips, arms, legs, etc. It's not lewd content to me, and the exact page she turned was a page explaining how to draw hands. I also looked around other books and saw nothing out of the ordinary. I did not get a look at brother-in-law's drawings because he always took his sketch pad with him. Did he overwhelm your daughter? After this, we had a long talk with our daughter about physical overwhelming. We didn't think we'd have this talk so soon. We told her that hitting and hurting someone wasn't okay. That if you were angry at someone, you had to take it out without hurting anyone. And that if anyone had ever hit her, she should tell us. Thank goodness we had never left them in the same room together alone. Either dear husband and I were with them. Whenever dear husband and I were working during the evenings, my mother, who lives 30 minutes away, babysat her. Shout out to my lovely mother. Still, we asked her if brother-in-law has ever hurt her before this incident, just to make sure. Why is he going to conventions and doing cosplays during the pandemic? He's not going to the conventions during the pandemic because there are no conventions currently being held in Spain. He was preparing to cosplay when this pandemic is over. He wanted to go as an anime girl who said, Nico Nico ni. I'm sorry if I messed anything up. I literally have no idea what anime it is, or even if I said it correctly. All I remember is that he posed like that in front of me. Why did you let brother-in-law in knowing he hurt your dear husband when they were smaller and that he resented you? I was clearly hesitant when dear husband told me that brother-in-law wanted to move in with us. I knew that brother-in-law hurt dear husband when they were kids and teenagers, like when brother-in-law punched my husband when he was 18 because my husband did not want to play that anime card game with him at 3 a.m. I also remembered how he accused me of stealing money from him when I did not do anything to him at all. Dear husband managed to convince me to give him a second chance. I was hesitant because I was especially looking out for dear husband and my daughter, since my husband was the only one who got hurt many years ago. My dear husband told me that they were brothers, that he probably had changed in 7 years, and that there was a pandemic and he needs help. When I saw that brother-in-law was actually doing housework for the first few weeks, I was happy that he was changed. So like a stupid person, I wanted to support his career as an artist. How stupid looking back now. What does dear husband think? He's mad. He regrets giving his brother a chance because we both know that brother-in-law was a lost cause. We were no contact. We will not be answering any calls from him. We will not let him get back into our house. Our daughter is our priority. We don't want a 30-year-old child in our house. So, how's brother-in-law now? From what I heard from my in-laws, his aunt is being very stern with him. So much he's even considering moving to the other side of the country to stay with his grandmother who smothers him since the day he was born. His grandmother, not my favorite person in the world, but I'd much rather spend time with her who's actually worked and done things for herself. The fact that he's willing to move to the other side of the country during a pandemic just so he does not have to find a job. Where we live, we get paid twice as much than the rest of the country, and rent is pretty cheap compared to other places. I don't understand how he just doesn't want to get a job for once in his life. I understand wanting to live off a passion. I'm a writer myself. I write books in Spanish whenever I have free time. But I cannot imagine living like that. I moved out of my house when I was 19. I found a good job and worked my ass off to get to where I am today. Yes, we had my child very young, but I promise we worked twice as hard to support our daughter. She has 2 loving parents, something I sadly never had. Only my mother was present in my life. She has food on the table every single day, and of course she has our support. Sorry for such a long post. I hope I answered all your questions. Thank you for your support and kind words. Edit. Hello guys. I'm guessing there might have been some confusion with what I said about my friends. I'm Spanish. I'm guessing there must have been something in the way I said it that made people believe I'm blaming my friends for this. Letting in my brother-in-law after dear husband and I knew what happened between all of us in the past is 100% our fault. Our friends had nothing to do with this. We thought that maybe in 6 to 7 years, brother-in-law would have changed, at least emotionally, and that he wouldn't be a jerk to his own brother. Totally our fault. We don't blame our friends for this. We do not blame our friends for this. However, the only reason why we let brother-in-law in the first place was because dear husband and I thought that the reason he might have hit dear husband in the past as kids, because they were siblings. I have none, so I didn't know what to think. If we had known he hit other people, insulted others, and harassed women and men, I think we could have avoided such pain. I honestly wish my friends had told me about what happened. I've seen someone say that if they had told me, I would have sided with brother-in-law. This is absolutely not true. I've always had a bit of bad feelings about brother-in-law, considering brother-in-law also messed me over accusing him of stealing from him when I was 17. And my friends knew this, so I would have sided with them no matter what. Thank you so much for sticking with me for so long. Tell me what you make of all of this. This is Guasto. See you in the next one.